Peace, everyone. Today I'm gonna do a video on shadow work. Now, as y'all can see, and as I stated before, I don't really plan on my videos, and I kind of just go off what I may think about prior to recording. But yeah, nevertheless, I'm gonna do this video is about shadow work, and it's honestly gonna be really brief. Yeah, it's gonna be really brief. So shadow work, in a sense, is basically bringing your unconscious emotions, feelings, and thoughts to your conscious mind. So if y'all have seen, and a lot of people have, if anyone has seen like that iceberg, and I may have been Sigmund Freud, I don't know. Anyway, if y'all seen that iceberg like picture or whatever, and then there's like the iceberg, then there's the conscious, and then there's the unconscious, and I believe on the very top is like the subconscious. I'm not sure, but it feels really nice out. Sorry, I just got distracted. It looks really pretty out. It's fall. But anyway, yeah. So basically shadow work is basically uncovering those aspects of ourselves that we don't necessarily approve of, or we don't necessarily even accept and or acknowledge. So for example, and if you start to literally pay more and more attention and become the observer of yourself, you would really start to notice this. But think of a time where you met someone off the rip, never seen them a day in your life before, and you notice that without even knowing, like, for real who they are, you don't like them. They may do something and it just like irks you, and you're probably like, yo, I can never be their friend, or I can never, date them, or whatever the case is. So a lot of times, 9 times out of 10, it's those aspects that we don't necessarily like of people, specifically the ones right off the bat, are the same aspects of ourselves that we don't acknowledge and or accept. And again, I want to strongly encourage everyone that's watching this video and that is definitely interested in doing shadow work, to start there. Honestly, just start there and start there. And when I say be an observer of yourself, don't be an observer without being judgmental. So don't judge yourself as you do it. Just if anything, become curious. Just if you meet someone and you're like, damn, like they're irritating me, like, and you're just like, yeah, they're irritating me, I don't like that, and you're like, yeah, I can't be their friend, or I can't date them, or whatever the case is. Literally take that and just become curious about yourself. So I'm gonna give y'all a personal example. So I'm doing this training right now, and yeah, this is a safe space because it's my channel, right? Yeah. Okay, well, yeah, so I'm doing a training right now, and there's probably like 7 of us in the training. So as the presenters presenting information, is this one lady, or this one woman in the training that is constantly like, she's either like finishing sentences of the presenter, or she's like constantly like interjecting during the presentation. So for me, I'm just like, bruh, like, come on, like like, can she finish talking, type of thing. And so so off rip, in my mind, I'm like, this lady's irritating me. Like, she irritated me. She need to stop like interjecting all this other stuff. So again, I become mindful of that because for one, I don't know this lady from nowhere. For 2, it's just like, I mean, granted, it could still annoy me or whatever, but it was really bothering me. I was just like, yeah, it was really bothering me. So then I ended up going home after the training, and I was just, I became curious without, necessarily judging myself or anything. And I had to ask myself a couple questions. And again, you can apply any of these questions to any part of your shadows, because yes, shadows. And if y'all also, side note, if y'all also heard of parts work and shadow work is honestly, they go hand in hand, but parts work is more so That's internal family systems. So that's like family therapy, yeah, give or take in a sense. But in shadow work is more like individual, one-on-one, Carl Jung type of therapy. But honestly, they go hand in hand. They're both truly amazing concepts, and low-key people do it without necessarily labeling you know, them shadow work. But yeah, so anyway, so I go back home, and you know, I be reflecting and stuff, and I was just like, what is it, you know, has there been times that I'm either one, talking over people, two, thinking I'm like kind of like a know-it-all. Y'all, my son is in Leo, and yeah, so I'm gonna just throw that out there because I think sometimes that, you know, it comes out. And is there any times in which you know, I'm kind of like the center of attention in a sense, and I think for me that's what it was giving. Like that's the type of energy that I was getting from her as she was like, you know, talking and stuff. And so again, and this may or may not be the case, and that's another thing I want to add. Just because you're becoming curious about it, it doesn't necessarily even mean like, okay, that is exactly what it is. In some cases, you know, it is. I think in this case it probably was. And I think for me personally, that's something, you know, personally I may or may have like strayed away from, or, you know, just, you know, that's not like kind of like, that's not me. I'm over here, that's all the way over there, that don't got nothing to do with me type of thing. But yeah, so again, so for me, that, you know, that may be the case, you know what I'm saying? Ain't nothing wrong with it though. No judgment, right? But yeah, so I say all that to say, when you start to notice that, or if you do become curious about something, you're just like, aha, like, you know, that actually may be the case for me. You can instead of like placing whatever that is across from you, notice it, accept it, and just, you know, nurture it as if it's a crying baby. And you're the mother, and that whatever that part or shadow of yourself is, nurture it like a baby. And again, when you start to put your finger on it, start to notice when it comes out. And so a lot of times I personally like to do like inner child healing when I do shadow work. And essentially inner child healing, I feel like it encompasses shadow and parts work, because a lot of the times some of the stuff that we have experienced specifically during childhood are, you know, painful. For some it may be traumatic, and so we push that all the way down to this the shadow part or the shadow selves, or the unconscious mind. And again, what you don't know and what you are unaware of, you cannot control. So if you don't know, oh, every time I don't know, surround myself around this one person, I feel the need to control, or I feel the need to control this in different situations. I feel the need to control. 9 times out of 10, that's your inner child coming up or showing up. So, and that is, again, that is another part of your shadow that you may not necessarily know or become aware of, or you may not know or be aware of. And so again, a lot of shadow work and parts work is just becoming aware of, accepting and acknowledging, and just, you know, developing things or skills, you know, counseling or whatever, skills that you can use when that part of you does show up. In that same example, if you do feel yourself getting angry wherever, you know, whether it's a situation or a specific place or a specific person or group of people, instead of denying that you're angry, noticing it, and again, noticing it and nourishing it as if you're a mother, and that feeling or that shadow of yours is a child. And so, you know, kind of talk to it, and, you know, hey, you know, I understand you're upset right now. And y'all might be like, girl, what? Talking to yourself? Yes, you are talking to yourself. You're talking to your inner child. But yeah, noticing like, yeah, you know, I know, I feel that you're upset right now, but I'm here, you know, just affirming words, literally as if you were talking to your younger self. And so I'm gonna give y'all a couple more like journal entries, and I'm gonna call it a day. Hopefully this video was helpful. But yeah, so in shadow work, some journal entries you can ask yourself, or like reflective is, again, it was like what I said before. What are some instances that you came across people or a person that you automatically they made your skin boil? Or what are some instances that you see yourself reacting instead of responding? So what are your triggers essentially? Honestly, you can sit with those 2 or 3 questions, and literally you will be surprised of how much stuff comes up. The important thing about it is, when you know your triggers and you become aware of your triggers and your shadows and your parts and all those essentially intertwine or whatever, or go, all essentially encompass one thing. When you become aware of those things, you can respond instead of reacting. Reacting is more so survival mode. Responding is more so safe. I don't need to fight. I don't need to scream. I don't need to fight, flight, freeze, fawn, flop. It's a new one I just recently heard about. I don't need to do any of those things because right now I'm safe. And I'll honestly, I'll make a very general video about trauma, because that is the work I do. But yeah, so once you become more aware of those things, you were able to show up as your the better version of yourself. And a lot of healing comes up when you do this type of work. So wish y'all the best, and again, I hope this video was very helpful. Peace.